What's up, Rene? Rene? Where you at, man? Rene? 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 Come on, man. Where you at? Rene, come on, man. It's not funny. Rene! Hey, man, this isn't funny. Rene! Not gonna get me today. Oh no. Oh, come on. Why? Okay. All right. Rene? Oh my God. Okay. Rene? You know what? This manga, until I met my husband, pretty good.
Recording at 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California at Undercity Comics. Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue 118. My name is Bryan.
And Nick.
Rene.
And welcome to the show.
Hey.
I was a little bit scared.
Why?
Because I forgot.
You forgot the issue
I pulled
number.
a Nick. I was just like,
easy to do, huh?
one. Because I kept thinking it was a 118.
Yeah, it's easy
But
to
it's
do,
because,
huh?
okay, let me explain myself. I have to edit the thumbnails for Our Real Addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Our Real Addiction is currently on an 80s run.
Oh.
So in my head, 8 already played. So I thought that we were in issue 118.
Ah,
That's all it is.
makes sense.
That's all it is. My bad. But I didn't screw up.
No.
That's still Nick's bit.
Yeah.
You're doing it next
I still
week.
have some.
I'll do it next week. It's fine. Yeah, I'll mess
Issue
it up.
121. No, wait, sorry, my bad. Issue 119.
2019.
What?
It's okay.
Keep in mind, right, that every year is 50 issues, right?
Is it really?
It's yes, because every year that we do,
Oh, because we do a week.
it's
'Cause you
2
do-
annuals.
Yeah.
That's true.
Two annuals.
50. So yeah.
Yeah,
you're
because
right.
how many weeks are
Math.
in a year?
Yeah, you're right. You are right.
All right,
Oh.
just a couple quick announcements before we move on.
Yeah.
Guys, keepingupwiththenerds.com to get all the up-to-date information. Follow us on our socials on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Keeping Up With The Nerds. Also, if you guys are listening to us on audio platforms, guys, audio platforms, I fixed this now, so it includes a little bit of an intro for people, shorter intro as well. So shorter theme. Short a little theme song, so that way we can get straight into the news, straight into the show, right? And it also includes a little audio bit that basically tells people where they can find us and all that other stuff. That's specific for the audio. But, guys, on YouTube, head on over there, go subscribe, like the videos if you guys like what you guys heard here, because that part right over there has the full intro and has a skit.
Yeah. Do you post the bloopers at the end?
No, but I'm gonna combine them all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I honestly think that would be fine as a video for the end of the year.
Yeah.
A
No,
bloopers
and
of all of our
every
bloopers?
10 weeks.
Like after 10 weeks, I
After
think
10
like a blooper reel.
So here's the interesting thing, because one, we work really hard on the skits.
Yes.
I think we've not perfected it, but we've gotten better. Because I remember when we first started out, skits took a really long time.
I thought it was funny because I've had some people ask me, they were like, how long does it take you guys to come up with a skit? Like a
Literally,
skit,
we just come together.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, oh, it takes us like about 45 minutes
thing
to like
is-
come up with the idea. And then usually we'll all kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
Bryan will come up with shots, and then we'll give our notes of like, oh, well, what about if we did this, this, and this?
Yeah.
And then usually we all come to a consensus, and then we hit the ball rolling.
Yes.
And then it goes.
Yeah. And I mean, it's we've gotten the creative process a little bit down. I think that if we actually spent more time, we can shoot some really, really good skits.
Yeah.
But these are kind of just done quick for the episode at the beginning, just to kind of go with the theme of the week and everything like that.
Just to like kind of put everybody's, on how exactly the process is. We all go to work in the morning. We get out around 6.
Yeah.
To then come here. We get here around 7. Bryan gets here around 9.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
Then we have a
It's usually because Bryan forgot something.
Yeah, usually Bryan's been here a couple times where he walks in and then he goes,
Excuse me.
forgot a tripod. And then he's like, forgot the tripod.
I forgot the charger.
I gotta walk home
Yeah.
now. No, and then,
Bryan's face.
Well, because I'm just like, okay, listen, am I not allowed to forget things?
no.
I'm the guy
but-
that
Your
edits.
production manager.
Your production
Exactly.
manager
So
is
my
in your
mind's
trunk.
running on full gear.
But anyway, and then it takes about 45-minute production meeting to kind of figure out what we're doing.
That's true.
And then we shoot for about an hour. So that's about probably like 9:30. And then we start recording our podcast at 9:45.
Yeah.
10 o'clock.
It's currently
about-
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was like, is he right? Yeah.
10 o'clock to about 11:30. So it's a long night.
But
It's a long night. We're all tired.
Do you like what we do here? Are
I
you
do.
having fun?
Yeah, it's
good.
fun. It's
okay,
fun.
cool. Awesome. Great. Yeah. Awesome. Love you guys.
When mistakes aren't made.
Exactly. Yeah. That's totally fine. Understandable.
Our video's uploading.
Yeah. Are we on time every time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pit thumbnails are up. I'm good. I'm happy with it.
We love you, Adam. We love you guys.
I wasn't throwing shade at Adam. You didn't have thumbnails this week.
Huh?
Adam. Who said Adam?
Yeah, I know. Why do you
did.
keep bringing people up to throw under the bus?
I'm sorry. Well,
Dang.
no, because you know
Dang.
what? He needs to know. Okay.
Dang.
Sometimes harsh love, because he's my understudy.
Oh my god.
Ah, he's your understudy.
I think so at this point.
no,
this point?
he's just an understudy. He's not yours specifically. He's
He's our understudy.
he's our understudy. There's
learning.
he's the closet nerd.
I will
He's the one that we put. He's the one that we put in the closet, and then like we go, somebody's not showing up today, and he goes, all right.
Oh, speaking. Did you like the skit that when you were gone, the one that we did with Adam? How'd you feel about it?
He didn't watch
Honest
it.
opinion.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
don't think
didn't
you
watch
watched it.
You didn't watch it?
No, I did.
What do you
Oh,
think?
and?
Honest opinion.
It was all right.
All right.
It was all right.
Thanks, I
I didn't-
guess.
No. I
Jeez, man.
You know, okay. You know what the funny thing was is that because I watched it while I was in the hospital because that's when it had come out. And no, wait, was it when he? No, I was home.
You were already
were
out.
out.
Yeah.
I was home. Okay, so I was home, and me and the girl that I'm dating right now, we watched it together because the episode had come out, and she's like, "Hey, I didn't watch it yet. Do you want to see the skit?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" I have no idea what the skit was this week.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, and then like I got like I was listening to her. I was more interested in what she was thinking about
Yeah.
it, because I was like, okay, I mean, most of the time I think what we do is funny, but then I listened to what
If
she
I'm
was
on
saying.
camera, it's
But
the
I was
work of
listening.
art.
I was listening to her. I was listening to
So,
anyway. Anyway, I was listening to her reaction of it, and then I was like,
there was a
she
big
there wasn't like a huge reaction. I got like a small chuckle,
Yeah.
and then I was like, and then she was like, I'm like, did you like it? She's like, yeah, it was all right.
Look, man, we
Dang.
do
good. It was
we
good.
do 4 skits a month. All right.
No, yeah.
Sometimes we do
Some-
some bangers.
some-
Some,
some-
Ain't all gonna be
They're
banged
all
up.
not going to be great, but I was asking her like, what was why didn't you think it was funny? And she goes, I didn't get it.
yeah,
Like,
it's
I
just
just-
the same thing.
You know what? Yeah, because we were doing in the
I-
middle of it, and we're like, I don't know where this is going. we were like, we don't
Like
know
yeah,
where
like
this
she
is
didn't know what the punchline was. And then when I rewatched it again, and then I went, I get the punchline. I get it, but it's not like
It
in
didn't
your
sell
face.
because you know what? So the problem with that
sell.
one was that week was slow, and the only big thing was Andor.
Yeah.
That was it. So it's like there's nothing we can do this week.
Oh, this one was pretty good.
Yeah, this one was
it.
full.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wasn't in it a
Watched
lot.
it, or are we pretending that we watched it?
Yeah.
yeah.
It was great. It was
great.
masterpiece.
You know what's great? I wasn't in it a lot.
I'm okay with being in front of the camera. I don't care. I'll be in front of the camera all day.
This week I wasn't into it. I mean, I didn't want to be in front of the camera a lot. That's why. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm in like one or two.
you're in a scene,
Yeah.
and it sells. I'm fine with being. In front
Yeah,
of
that's
the camera.
fine. That's great.
I'm an attention whore.
I'll be honest. Okay, so the
Yeah.
creation of this skit, right? Because we finished Werewolf by Night, which is one of the topics. Guys, real quick, if I know we're like almost 8 minutes in at this point,
Something like that,
Right,
yeah.
something like that. Real quick, we got comic strips today. We're going to be talking about the Super Mario trailer, and we're going to be talking about Werewolf by Night, which
Yeah.
to all of us it came out as a surprise. We completely forgot about it.
we had to watch it in the
Yeah.
in the
Nick
studio.
told me today upon recording that it came out. I was like, really? I thought it came out later this month.
We were excited for it,
Yeah.
I
but I
know.
think we forgot.
I was actually more worried that both of you had watched it because I forgot, and then I was like, "Oh man, I
my
can't be the
job, I
only
didn't
one
do
that
it."
I can't believe I'm the only one that didn't watch it." And then I was like driving here trying to watch it in my car, and I was like,
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
No, you weren't.
I was
No,
like half an
Nick,
hour in.
Look at the camera and tell people that you weren't doing
I was totally doing
No,
that.
I was
totally doing that.
I was because I got
It
here.
was on my lap.
No,
looking
no,
down.
All right.
no,
In the
I
case
haven't-
of
I haven't
Nicholas
locked in my
Valero.
thing. I haven't
Okay.
locked in my
On
thing.
your stand?
In my little stand in my car.
Nick.
No, because I got here and then I told Rene, I was like, Rene, have you seen Werewolf by night? And he goes, no, I haven't seen it. I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm like half an hour into it.
Nick, what you do is you're literally putting evidence out there so that at your trial they go like Exhibit A, and then
No one's
here
been
you
hit
are.
yet.
Oh my God!
No
Yes,
one's gotten hit yet.
Yet.
Well, yeah,
Don't.
you have to leave
Don't
that
even
Tell
little.
the
say
people in the
that.
camera right now.
We have to leave
Tell
a
the
liability.
people on camera that you don't condone this.
I don't condone my actions, but that's the only way I can consume
Do as I
content.
say, not as I do.
Yeah, that's the only way I can really consume content with a full-time job. And
Listen,
try to
all
do this.
right?
Like,
So,
if you wonder how Bryan and Rene don't finish things and then I do in a week, this is how. Because I'm in the
sure,
car for like an hour.
Congrats,
I'm in the
Nick.
car for an hour.
Do you watch it on your job?
Huh?
Do you
No.
watch stuff on your job?
No, I don't. I can't.
Well, that he can't do. Like,
No, I can't do that because I have a lot of kids around me. Mm-hmm. So
watching
sometimes
Game of Thrones.
I can't watch Game of Thrones at work,
No, guys.
Yeah.
or I couldn't watch Cyberpunk at work.
No.
Especially when little kids just like magically appear behind me and go, "What are you watching?" And then I'm like,
What are you
I'm like, nothing. Shut up.
Mistake number one: watching Cyberpunk the first 2 minutes at work, not realizing that
There's a
was
lot
like
of
first
nudity.
2 minutes.
There's a lot of nudity.
Yeah, I
in
was
that.
like,
Already
Ooh.
nudity in 2 minutes into.
Yeah,
My
it's
bad,
like-
guys.
There was a lot-
Trust me, I ain't watching this.
Oh,
There's a lot.
sorry, really quick. I recently went over to Manny's house this past weekend, and we went to go see Bros.
How was
Oh,
It was actually not bad. It was pretty funny, but the thing is,
it's a rom-com, right?
It's your
generic
it's your
rom-com?
typical rom-com, like formula.
that? Okay.
But watching it, that's the thing. Me and her watching it. It's mostly the theater is mostly filled with women.
Really?
Hardly couples, but there's one guy that sits in our row that sits like by himself. So
Okay.
we're watching it. 10 minutes in, already there's like male sex happening and stuff like that.
Okay. Awesome.
As soon as it ends, as soon as they finish, guy gets up, walks out of the theater. I was like, what?
I don't think he knew what that movie was about.
Right? Like,
I
he's
think
going
he
into
thought
a
it
movie
was-
called Bros. It's just
I
like-
think he was like, I think it's about two bros. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's just like two homies that are just really down with each other. And then all of a sudden
and then they actually get down
and
with
then
each
they get
other.
down with
They
each other.
actually get down.
And then it's just like,
So,
done.
in context with that, right? My favorite scene,
Mm-hmm.
right? My favorite segs scene ever is the one that's in Rocket Man.
Rocket Man?
Yeah.
Oh, for
Are you talking about
Elton John.
You're
Oh,
talking
Elton
about,
John,
Wait,
yes.
you're talking about Man on Man.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the reason
I thought
as
you
to
were talking
why
about a Disney movie called
No,
Rocket
no.
Man. I was like, there's no sense.
What?
I was like,
You know what?
I will tell you
the
why.
movie The Rocketeer. You know that one? Yeah. You know when
No.
you know when he's trying to get on the actual blimp.
Yeah.
You know
Let me-
that scene where he's just
let me
rubbing
explain
against
why.
it.
just rubbing
Let me explain why, okay? Yeah. I don't like scenes like that in movies just because if there's no reason for it to exist there,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like
Well,
2
it's
minutes of
Elton
softcore.
John.
Yeah, no, but it's not that. So the reason as to why is because I watched Rocket Man in theaters, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You guys ever been in a room where you can sense the density of people when things are just super, super awkward?
No.
Like the room just becomes super dense?
No,
Yes.
because I don't care.
You know. Okay, you don't care, but you know what? You know what I mean?
I've
Like you
felt-
can sense it, right?
It's not that I'm awkward. I can feel that the people around me are awkward.
They don't know what to do.
Okay,
Like everybody,
yeah.
like
You feel
somebody,
you feel how everyone else you're. I mean, either it's like if you don't feel it, but you feel it, everyone else is just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What-
like,
what they're all looking at.
yeah,
or-
like because then you start seeing people do the kind of look at everybody else,
yeah,
and you're fine,
yeah.
but they're more awkward and more uncomfortable, and you're just
And
like, okay,
that
get over it.
Is what I felt with Rocket Man.
Rocket
scene.
Man.
Because it was so.
You felt uncomfortable?
No, I
No,
didn't.
he felt that
no
everyone
one,
else was
Oh,
uncomfortable.
okay.
No one knew what to do. No one knew. I heard
Watch
shuffling
it?
in the chairs.
just
I
watch
heard people like I sensed people like looking over to their partners and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, oh my god, this is actually going on because it gets intense.
It's full on. I mean,
It's
in all fairness,
They get into
They
it.
get into it.
in all fairness, I think I would have been, because I've seen the Candelabra, which that one has a really intense one too.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Candelabra?
No.
It's about what's his name? Shoot, can you look it up? It's with Matt Damon.
All right, let's speed this up because.
But anyway,
yeah.
there's also a scene in there which is like, it's not very graphic, but it's pretty graphic.
spell it?
The
It's
Candelabra.
not about the like how graphic it is. It's about the intensity, and Rocket Man's was pretty intense. Like
Well, yeah, because he was banging the hell out of him.
they were.
He was
literally-
having fun.
I believed it, dude. I was like, whoa.
You know what? I want to have sex like that. Like, that looked entertaining. It looked
You know
fun.
what's funny is that when watching the scene on Bros, it's just Bros they hook up on Grindr and it's two guys. They just lay on the bed and they just start like they don't even touch each other. They're just touching each other. They're just
touching themselves.
and looking at each other. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, that's a thing? I was like, that's
As somebody who lives with a gay man,
yeah.
His brother.
I thought it was so funny where because like he saw me on Tinder one time a while back, and then he goes, "So how exactly does that work on Tinder? Like, do you guys like do you send a message, then she sends a message, then like she sends a boob pic, and then you send like a D pic, and
It
then
never goes that extreme
and then,
right
like-
away. That's the thing.
and then like you guys meet up, and then like that's it, and I'm like." No, that is never how it is. Like, you know, you
Listen.
talk for like 2 or 3 days, and then like maybe you go on a date, and he was like, "That's boring."
Okay, so it's here's the cast.
Oh, behind the candelabra, it was
Dan Aykroyd.
It was Liberace. It was a Liberace movie.
Oh, so it's Michael Douglas played Liberace.
Yeah, Michael Douglas plays Liberace.
And Matt Damon.
So Matt Damon and Michael Douglas have a hardcore sex scene in that movie.
Segs.
Segs. That's what I said.
Zegs.
Segs.
On OnlyPants.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
It's a sex movie. It's a sex scene with Matt Damon and Michael Douglas. And
Oh, you can watch it if you guys want to know. You guys can watch that on HBO Max.
And we're done. That is it.
It's a solid movie. It's a
Can
good
we
movie.
move on now?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on because we are cutting it close on time.
And
I
you're
don't want to
getting
give.
uncomfortable.
I want to briefly touch on this before we move on. Let's get the negativity out of the way so we can jump straight into comic strips. I told you before we started
Yes.
recording, no more than 5 minutes I want to spend on this, right?
Fine.
But recently we were featured on another show. And a lot of the stuff that we said was taken out of context. Now, before I let Nick take over, I'm going to say this. Look, it is important to make sure that everything that we say doesn't get taken out of context. A lot of the things that we stand up for and that we talk about, there is actual support for. And we've said it on multiple different issues, right? That we do bits, we do jokes, and everything like that, right? And the last thing that we want is for people to come out and take something out, a soundbite, right? And have that be representative of who we are, because that's not who we are.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it happened, and we were featured for about 20-ish minutes on a show, and certain things got taken out.
Oh, I was furious.
And yeah, the frustration. So you were pretty furious, Rene. I don't know. You're very scary when it comes to emotions. You're just kind of like.
I had to get up and walk around for a bit. I had to get up and walk around.
If you want like a level, I'm on the same boat as with Nick.
Yeah. So
I almost don't want to talk at all.
Yeah.
No,
my
that's the thing.
my thing is that when people take our podcast and then they purposefully edit and clip things out of context, and also clip things that you may have said and clip them out of context and not play the full clip, that is very misleading.
Yeah.
To the character of the hosts and also the character of the podcast and our actual content.
Yeah.
Now, when you do that, you not only shine a false light on us, but also you shine a false light on yourself.
Yeah.
And when you have that, when you don't have integrity to actually play a full clip and to actually take what they said honestly and with the full context and decide to mislead your viewers, you should really be ashamed of yourself. Because by doing that, you have not only made yourself look dumb, but you have misled the viewership that you hold by at heart. And really, that's not what we're here for. People listen to podcasts so that way they can be informed, that way they can be entertained, and for the most part, be told the truth and on what exactly people's ideas and what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And when you mislead them, and especially after misleading them, to then say, hey, you shouldn't listen to these people because that's the views and that's the kind of people that they are. And truly, truly just lie. That's the most important thing. Because honestly, when you do that, you look like an idiot. And the thing is that we want to tell our viewers that the things that were said inside of the clips, we don't want to talk about the clips. We don't want to talk about these people. They'll never be mentioned on our podcast again. Because I understand if another podcast has a problem with something that we said. If you have a problem with us and you would like to message us about like, hey, this is something that we didn't agree with. Why did you say this? That's the opportunity, because that's a mutual respect. And previously, Bryan thought that that's what we had. But what that podcast has shown us is that obviously we're not working with the same amount of mutual respect.
I will say this, that we do our best to try to refer back to certain things. And
Exactly.
These people have been referenced before in the sense of like, hey, go watch them, go support them, go do everything like that. Like we joke and kid and understand with bits. And sometimes those bits can be a little bit offensive. That's fine. But you're 100% right? In that sense that if something does go a little bit too far, maybe talk behind the scenes and maybe not mention it in that sense. And that'd be perfectly fine.
So we can either talk about it on the next.
Because it's not out of the norm of us getting something wrong, and then the next episode, we apologize.
Yeah.
And we say, hey, you know what? We didn't get something right. I even did it in the episode I Came Back, where I said, hey, an editor note. Mm-hmm. This is what the information was that we had gotten wrong. Mm-hmm. And we've done that a couple of times of, hey, we had information wrong. Let me correct what we said.
But I'd also like to state that we've also referred back to issues where we've done mistakes or we reference certain things and stuff like that. So if there's ever an issue where we do like a sound bit, right? Or not even a sound bit, but where we reference something that someone said here amongst the three of us, right? And we take it out of context, right? We talk about the issue that it was referenced beforehand so people can go back and see what we mean, right? Because one of the biggest things, right? I'll bring this up as a reference, right? So we talked about the word incel, which was it that you guys didn't know what it was?
I didn't know what it was. You had brought it up in a posting.
It was in issue 115.
It was but in issue 115 we had brought it up again, but you had brought it up in an episode when you were reading a review.
Yes.
And then you had brought up the term incel.
Yeah.
And then I said it again as a joke.
Yeah.
As a callback to that episode. Because a lot of the things that I say are running gags.
Yeah.
It's
what we do.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
I'll pull from an old gag and I'll bring it forward. Mind you, I don't have a list. I just remember. And, that's what we're supposed to do. Because we've all been here.
Is that you called me, or you basically said, if you open up the dictionary and look up the definition incel, you'll see me there. But that's the thing is that...
that was the full quote.
Yeah.
But I was making fun of you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also in the clip, because I know that
I wasn't talking about the clip. I was talking about how the fact...
Well,
yeah,
in the clip,
it is,
I was specifically called out. Because I specifically said, you guys are monsters. Like, you guys are monsters.
Yeah.
Or, you guys are pigs.
Yeah.
Because you guys were both saying something.
Us,
I was referencing both of you because I was taking the opposite side of the argument while you guys were making fun of something.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was to be a funny joke.
Yeah.
Again, all in joke.
All in jest.
Yeah.
Now,
So
I personally could not care about these people or their podcast. In all fairness, and I think Bryan can attest to this, every single time that you've brought up that we should, hey, they mentioned something, so we're going to mention this as a joke, I have always said, why?
Well, that's the thing is that I guess I'm a sucker for having faith in people and, thinking that
yes
they
or
can
no,
take it.
has that happened?
Yeah, that's happened before. So I'm just going to say this to kind of wrap it up because I don't feel like
we
there's a
need
need
to-
to
No,
talk
yeah,
about
we
it,
need to
right?
move forward
So
from it.
as a production, we've come to the agreement to just not go about this anymore any further because it got taken a little too far, and that was it. Granted, I think that you, Rene, mentioned, that we should apologize for using the misogynistic terms and ideas and putting it parallel to them. And then,
That was our mistake.
That was our mistake, and we're sorry for that.
In all fairness, go back and watch it. Watch their episodes if you want.
It's the last 10 issues.
It's the last 10 issues.
Yeah.
Tell us if we're wrong.
I mean, yeah, because that was the thing is that we by no means meant to basically correlate the two. It just came out to be that way, and I think that taken out of context, it made it seem that way. Now, if they did take it that way again, that is a fault of ours, and we apologize for that, and we just want to move forward with that, right?
Yes.
But you should have brought it up to us in person.
Yes, but again, there's ways to handle it. There's behind the scenes that we can do. There's no need to call people out in that sense and tell them, don't go watch them, don't go do that.
Yes.
We have 118 issues where we can basically in full confidence say that, you know what, there's enough evidence to show that we're not these type of people, that we don't do this, and there's bits, and we know the chemistry amongst all of us in that sense, right?
And the funny thing is that I will say, as of right now, when I first walked into the studio, Rene specifically told us, hey, those guys have invited us to be on their podcast. Now, if they don't want us to be on that podcast anymore after this issue, I understand, couldn't care. But if you want us to come on and maybe we could have a discussion about this situation, why exactly this came up, and why you guys edited us in a negative format, I'd love to hear it. I'd like to hear your point of view, and I would like to hear everything like that. Now, the only thing that I'm afraid of is because they edit their podcast. See, on our podcast, we shoot an hour and a half and we show you an hour and a half. Whatever is said is whatever is said. We
the
don't
only
edit.
things that included is a little quack sound whenever we cuss.
Whenever I cuss.
I take full responsibility.
I'll take responsibility. But when you shoot three hours and then you choose the things that you think are going to get clicks, or you specifically say, oh yeah, I'm going to edit this to make the joke funnier.
Yeah.
That is also misleading.
Yeah.
So if you are willing to have this discussion, the biggest concern I have is that no matter what, however you are painted in that light, the episode would either never air, or you would edit us so that way we look foolish.
Yeah.
And I would never do that to our brand or to us.
Yeah.
So
Fair.
if you guys would like to come on ours and explain yourselves, we would definitely talk.
I will say, to kind of wrap it up, I think, Rene, you're over this conversation at this point. Just to wrap up this last point, they do use a sound bit that I used when I was on their show.
Which I don't like.
I don't
And
appreciate
personally, I don't
here's
like
the thing.
that at
Here's the
all.
thing. I'm going to say this, okay? As a word of advice and as a friend to you guys, because I've known you guys for quite a while, it's important to reference what you're using to make sure that it's not in bad light. So, for example, if, or Nick calling me an incel is used, right? You reference the issue back so people are able to get that quote and the context from it and not make it seem like, oh, he doesn't like this person, so on and so forth. And so drama happens.
Yeah.
They have used my quote that shouldn't be out there in the internet, right?
No.
That should not, because it could be used negatively.
Yeah.
In all
And
fairness,
they don't.
with the editing, them knowing that they edited it, they should have edited it out.
They should have edited it out, and not only that, but they don't reference back to what it was used in and how it was used in. And
Yes.
we
Or
were
explain,
drinking. Eric explained
yeah.
what was going on, because we do drink beers on that show and everything, and it ended up being like that. And again, it's not an excuse to say, oh, boys, when I said it that way. I don't believe in whatever was being used, but they didn't reference it back, and it makes people look terrible.
And they didn't use the full clip.
And then you use a full clip. So we'll leave it at that. So I'm saying that as a friend,
Yeah.
and from a production perspective as well, word of advice, piece of advice, take it as you will. With that, are we good? Can we move on
Yes.
from comic strips now? Over
Yes.
and done with? Again?
All right,
Perfect.
let's go.
Here we go. Smile. Let's go. Come
On
on.
a lighter note, it's comic strip.
Look, Renee's
Yeah.
smiling.
On
He's
to
all
things
good.
that matter.
On comic
right.
strips,
Comic
issue
strips.
118, ladies and gentlemen. Harley Quinn announces that they're getting a Valentine's Day special
Woo!
called
I'm happy about
A
that.
Very Problematic Valentine's Day Special.
Okay.
Now, I will say this. Did you watch the end of Harley Quinn?
Yes.
I wasn't a fan of the ending.
You don't. So, can we say what the ending was?
Yeah, go ahead.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, so spoiler. It ends with Harley Quinn joining the Bat family.
And done.
That's
And-
it.
That's it. It's literally it.
Oh,
like,
no,
I'm
It's-
sorry.
It's
Yeah.
Harley Quinn joining the Bat family. Bruce Wayne almost caused a zombie apocalypse, and what was it? Poison Ivy becomes the new leader of the Legion of Doom.
Are they still together?
Yes.
Harley and
Harley and them.
and
they-
That
Ivy?
relationship cannot break. I need you
Wow.
to understand that
Yeah.
relationship needs
they,
to stay.
they are both understanding of each other's point of view,
Yeah.
and they both said,
Ah.
I love you, and if you need to go do something, that's fine, but I need to go do this,
So it's a healthy relationship.
and you need to
Yes.
go do this.
That's what
and
it
It is a
relationship
very
is.
healthy
Yeah.
villainous relationship.
yeah, and they're
you
both
can let your lover join an evil group and let your other lover join the Bat
that
family.
fights them.
Yeah, the group that fights them. And you can still, be in a happy relationship. There you
I
go.
don't mind Harley being in the Bat family. I just don't like the way that it ended. Like, if you're gonna
Okay.
bring her in the Bat family, give me another episode.
I've always
I-
considered her part of the Bat family.
I always thought
Fine.
I did think the ending was funny because it was Batgirl and she was like, "Welcome to the Bat family," and then all of them shoot their grappling hooks and they all fly away, and she's like, "Thanks for giving me one, jerks." Like, she's just like stuck. She's stuck on a roof.
I would say watch it just because of that. Like, season 3 does kind of bring in a lot of people, like Batgirl. It's so great to see how Harley and Batgirl are like
they
trying to be
expand
best
more,
friends and
yeah.
not.
Billy Bob Thornton and James Gunn are there.
Oh,
really?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton and James Gunn are in the show.
Like
I'm not
they're
gonna-
playing as
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
And your favorite hero, Nightwing, is all broody and kind of it's a perfect Nightwing.
yeah,
it's really good.
it's a great Nightwing
Yeah.
because he's trying to. And Harley Quinn acts
Love me
as,
some dick.
Dick Grayson.
but it's really
Grayson.
good. It's
No,
really
Dick.
great.
No, Dick.
Yes.
I really like it too
Richard.
because it's. I like it also because it shows Harley Quinn as a psychiatrist more in this season.
Yes,
really?
Yes.
It really does show her as a psychiatrist, and it's also it really has her breaking down characters and trying to help them mentally.
psyche.
I will say
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
to maybe kind of encourage
And
you to
their
watch
dam-
it.
and their
Harley
damages.
finds out Bruce's identity.
Oh.
And so it's the reason as to why she doesn't put it out there.
yeah.
patient client.
Patient doctor confidentiality.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
so
funny.
It's
Wow.
great.
And because even Bruce goes like, "Why haven't you told my my secret? Why haven't you told anybody?" And she's like, "You're my patient. Why would I tell anybody about?"
It's so good. Yeah.
Like, why would I tell anybody about you? Like, I wouldn't tell you about this other person or what their secrets are because they're my patient.
Yeah.
And Bruce is like, "Oh my god!" And they keep on talking like
Yeah.
like doctor and patient. It's good. It's great.
Moving on, Velma, the new HBO Max series that's coming out, finally gets a trailer. Kind of weird. It's weird because one, I'm not as interested in this one. I mean, on a side note, the new Scooby-Doo movie that came out, Velma comes out as, I believe, lesbian or
She's
bi.
lesbian.
Yeah, which
She's a
honestly,
member of the LGBT.
no issue with that because I think they've slowly made that a thing over the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Even James Gunn came out and said that they wanted to make her canonically lesbian or canonically gay in his live action movies.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that if you're uncomfortable with that, cool, that's your kind of opinion and thing, but if you've been a longtime watcher or a longtime fan of Scooby-Doo, you've kind of seen her character progress in that kind of direction. So it's interesting to finally see that. Right, it's that stake in the ground is finally set.
My thing is that I feel like in any medium, a character's sexuality really shouldn't be played off as a gimmick or anything like that.
That shouldn't
It
be your selling
and that
point.
It
it's
shouldn't be your
developed.
selling point.
Yeah.
It should be developed. But honestly, who cares?
Who cares? But I will say this new Velma series that is coming out on HBO Max is supposed to be more adult, right? It's supposed to be before the Mystery Gang finally became a thing. I don't really care for it because there's no story, there's no substance yet. They just revealed that the fact that Velma is now a person of color and there's no Shaggy, it's Norville, and he's being played by, I'll tell you the cast right now, actually. So pay attention to this cast. It's interesting, okay? So Velma will be played by Mindy Kaling. Sam Richardson as Norville, who's Shaggy. Constance Wu as Daphne. Glenn Howerton as Fred. Then you also have Jane Lynch, Wanda Sykes, Weird Al, Nicole Byer, Ming-Na Wen, I believe is how you pronounce her name.
Yes.
Debbie Ryan, Carl Anthony Towns, Russell Peters, Melissa Furmo, and Stephen Root, Gary Cole as well.
That is
And
an
that's just the
all-star
way-
cast.
That is an all-star cast, so it's
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't really care for Mindy though. That's the thing. I never liked her as an actress.
I'm not a big fan of her.
I'm not a big fan of her.
But you know what? I want to see her in more roles that are not. I don't want her to see. How can I say this?
I don't want to see Kelly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's the same issue that I had with who's the voice of Sonic now? What's his name? I keep forgetting his name.
Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz. I couldn't get Ben Schwartz, the guy from Parks and Rec who always comes in and sings like this.
Yeah.
John
I couldn't-
Raffio?
Yeah, John
Yeah.
Raffio. I couldn't get out of it. Then he started
Yeah.
playing more roles, and I was like, I can buy it.
That's true.
Funny thing is that in Sonic, he did that a couple times.
He
Yeah.
did, but
But it was okay.
But it was- yeah, it was fine.
Because it worked. It works for Sonic.
and he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I do. So I feel like I hope that this all-star cast isn't the selling point for this show.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that it builds on something that's a little more interesting. It is a cartoon. It is supposed to be more for adults.
Yeah.
Let's see where it goes.
Okay.
But it is an all-star cast.
Yeah.
Blockbuster drops a trailer. If you guys aren't familiar with it, is a show on Netflix that is show run by the same producers that did Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Superstore, featuring Randall Park and Melissa Fumes, who was what's her name from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Amy.
Amy. It's
She
interesting.
played Amy, and then Park played Kim Jong Un in the interview.
Yeah.
in
I was gonna say in the
he's
interview
also in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
as the guy that flips the card out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the FBI agent.
The trailer looks okay. I'm not really interested.
Here's my thing though. It's from the same creators as Brooklyn Nine-Nine and them. If you go back and you rewatch commercials for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they're not great.
No, that I didn't watch the show until the last season.
They are not. They are not great commercials. I'm really hoping the show sells better because Park is a really good funny man.
He is.
And the girl that plays Amy, she's a great straight woman where it's just like, oh, it's okay. That comes out wrong.
She's a very good, enthusiastic actress.
She's good, but she's also the good person to bounce jokes off of.
Yes.
Where like, okay, I'm gonna say a joke, and then you take it either the wrong way, or
Yeah.
you try to be very serious with the joke.
Yeah, she's
and-
great to like when you have like an eccentric character,
Yes,
or
to-
like a really ridiculous character that says, like you said, like a ridiculous joke, and then just have her reaction from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to bounce these kind of ridiculousnesses off of her.
Yeah.
And I think that is the key to this, because honestly, if it's not and the jokes kind of land flat, that's going to be the death of this.
It has to heavily rely on Randall Park and the writing staff to do to make it good, because
But that's the thing though, is that I feel like that's not what sold the other shows. The other shows sold because it was an ensemble. Because in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it wasn't just a Jake Peralta show. It is a Terry Crews show. It is you also have Holt. You have all these different characters that even if Jake isn't inside of this show, isn't even in the episode, you still care because you like these other characters. If it's just on Park, show's gonna fail.
Isn't Brooklyn Nine-Nine one of the showrunners one of the same showrunners for The Office and Parks and Rec?
Yes.
Right? Because
yeah.
it's still got that same film style, right?
Yeah.
All right, moving on, because we do have a lot more to talk about. Did you guys hear about Keanu Reeves?
No, what happened to him?
Why do you say it like that? What happened?
What happened to
Because
him?
I'm worried.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves was on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was talking. He was talking about his comic book.
That sucks.
No, he was talking about who he would play on MCU. He was talking about who he would want to play on the MCU.
Well, yeah, he talked about his MCU character. He also talked about his Berserk comic book. He
Yes.
talked about how he made it and everything else.
So
You know what the funny thing is?
that wasn't the story, though.
Wait, hold on. But,
Yeah. Wait, we're snowballing.
hang on. But I'm very upset because I was one of the people that actually paid for the Kickstarter, and I still haven't gotten my comics.
Really?
I haven't.
Wait, how
gotten-
much did you put in? And what was your tier?
$150.
Like 120.
Oof.
And what were we supposed to get from that?
I got the hardcovers.
You're supposed to get the hardcovers?
I was supposed to get a complete
Hey,
hardcover.
we gotta go find Keanu Reeves.
that
Let's go knock on
comic's
his
still
door.
going on though. That's the thing.
But I was
the
supposed to-
first arc should be done.
No,
yeah.
but it was supposed to be like you get the full arc as they come out, as they complete. You were supposed to get the first ones off the line, like the first
Still
compendiums.
nothing.
And I haven't gotten anything. They were supposed to be They were supposed to be like collector edition.
Can you
Yeah.
talk to them to get your money back or something?
Well, I mean, the comics are being made, and they keep on in my emails from Kickstarter. It's always like, hey, for an update, we're oh yeah, we're having like some printing issues, or
Why
oh
does it sound
yeah,
like that's the actual email? Like, hey, this time you put in some money here.
you're never gonna get it. Ha!
You still, we remember.
He's got Star Citizen.
Dude, I
You
got
got Star Citizen, dude.
I got bent over a table. That's what happened. And anyway, I have not received my comic book. So Kickstarter, if you
Keanu,
if you hear this, in which also, hi Keanu, how you doing?
Hey,
How's your
Keanu.
day?
I wouldn't be able to fly on. I'd be like, I watched this podcast, Keeping Up with the Nerds. Nick Falero
Never got his
comics. What the hell, guys?
Keanu, just an update. It's good to know that you would want to play Ghost Rider. That's the whole story.
Yeah, I know.
That was the whole story.
My story was funnier. My story was funnier.
Nick's story was so much better. But that was so good.
I'm like, look, this is supposed to be good news. Goes into tragedy, and it's like, hey, you know what? Good thing you're
Yeah,
playing
because
Ghost Rider.
he's a spirit of vengeance for me. I demand vengeance. Go to the publishers. I want vengeance.
Back, guys. I think it's
I don't think we can keep going.
This is all downhill from here, so I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna go here. Right, Gotham Knights comes out in 2 weeks.
And you're welcome.
Okay, no one cares.
Gotham
honestly.
Knights, peace out.
Finally,
Thanks, guys.
finally at this point, yeah.
Ezra Miller comes back for reshoots. Okay,
Why?
cool. So Warner Brothers just likes to screw themselves over.
Yeah,
you
they
know,
just like to deal with toxic people. I
yeah,
guess.
exactly.
Yeah.
And in other dead projects, Google event had their event called Made by Google 2022, where they announced the Pixel 7, Pixel 7 Pro, and the Pixel Watch, which will probably be supported for about 6 months before it
What
ends
is
up
this
somewhere in a landfill.
like YouTube Rewind? Like we don't care anymore.
I will say that apparently Google called them out. I didn't care. I don't watch this. I don't wear Google stuff. I'm all Samsung, you know, at this point, right?
Same.
So
I don't know a lot of people that wear Google stuff.
No one. I mean, we all use their services, but whatever, right? But here's the thing. Apparently, in their little event thing, they called out Apple by saying we've had car detection for like 3 years at this point, or car accident detection for 3 years.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
Well,
Apple was like,
is
that's a feature.
It's not a new feature.
No, so there you go. That's it. We can't beat the rest of the whole
I think
Keanu Reeves story.
I think when we talked about the Apple stuff and we had talked about that, I think I even mentioned Samsung and Apple.
they've had it
for a
That's
while.
Great. Good to know. So that wraps
was a
up
good
comic
bit.
strips.
I'm so so proud of that Keanu bit.
Oh, you're
we
welcome.
did, Yeah.
He's like,
Mine was so
best
much better.
moments of 2022 right there.
Yeah, no, I knew where you were going with it, and I was like, no, mine's way funnier.
As soon as you said Berserk comic, you're like, ding.
Because I specifically remember seeing it on my YouTube saying, Keanu Reeves talks about making his comic Berserk, and when you mentioned it, I was like, oh, I remember this.
Where's my copy?
Yeah, where's my copy? I haven't even read it. I have no idea how this comic is, and I was a supporter from the beginning.
Listen, 2 people have heard him today. All right, you heard it here, right
Yeah,
here.
Keanu Reeves.
Out of everyone, the nicest man alive.
I know.
That's the one I'm most heard about.
Moving on, next topic.
I think it was a knife deeper than Keanu.
He's the one. He's the one, and he hurt me.
Nick, are you good? We've got 2 other things to talk about here.
Like 40 minutes.
We're 40 minutes in, all right?
Sorry,
We're
go
good.
ahead.
Are you good?
No.
All right, somehow he's going to connect.
I never got it.
It'd be good if I had comics in my hand.
Right? It'd be nice to read about the story.
It's how mad I was when they were coming in here, and I still hadn't gotten mine.
I know, we've been getting it for months. We're already like on issue like 9 or 10 right now.
Why do you think I kept asking? What is this compendium done? That's why I kept asking.
He just goes up.
I was literally asking you for a while. I'm like, is the compendium done yet? And you were like, no,
I could
not
just
yet.
imagine Nick, right, having a shrine of Keanu Reeves photos there. I can't.
Why?
I gave you my money.
I loved you in Speed.
Yeah.
I loved you in The Matrix.
Yeah.
I bought all 3 John Wicks, and I was going to watch John Wick 4, but I can't
I even like the Lake House.
I actually hate that movie. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Knock Knock.
No, Knock Knock was terrible.
Knock Knock is a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh my god, I gotta take this off. It's gonna be sweat, dude. That was perfectly fine.
Not Lake House. Lake House is a good movie, but Knock
Lake
Knock
House
is
is
a
good
terrible
because it
movie.
has Sandra Bullock in it.
Yeah.
They have great chemistry.
Yeah, but
Whenever they're in the movie.
Also,
together.
Speed holds up.
Oh,
Speed
yeah, I know
still
this.
does hold
Speed
up.
holds up.
It's one of the movies I've yet to show Andy, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I have to.
What happened to Dennis Hopper? Did he just stop after Speed?
He died.
Did he die? I didn't know he died, actually. I thought he just like was like.
I wish the camera was angled better because your eyes was just like, he died?
I thought he like Gene Hackman did or something.
He died like 5 years ago.
Oh, I didn't. Honestly, I didn't
Been
know
dead
that.
for a while.
I didn't know that, honestly.
Live reactions, guys. Heartbreak, deceit. What's mine?
Whatever happened to Dennis Hopper?
Yeah. I thought he just stopped. Like,
You just thought he retired?
yeah, like Gene
No.
Hackman did or something.
He was 70 in 99. What do you think happened?
Or can we take it back now? Can we go back to the main topics? Are we good? All right, Nick's dying. Let's go ahead and just talk about the Super Mario Brothers trailer.
Speaking of Super Mario Brothers and
Why
Dennis
do
Hopper,
you keep hijacking the show?
because it's Dennis Hopper. He was the first Bowser.
Was the first Bowser.
That's true.
You know? Give respect where respect belongs.
The
Come
Super
on.
Mario Brothers trailer dropped today to everyone's surprise, right? Something, finally, a good Nintendo Direct.
To Renee's surprise, Dennis Hopper was not in.
No. It was not Bowser.
He was
again.
like,
It was
Like, how
Jack
come Bowser
Black.
didn't like? How come he never reprised his role? Like, how come he never voiced Bowser? Missed opportunity.
They didn't even get him for a cameo. Like,
Yeah.
what's up?
Wasn't even a Koopa. Like,
Get him as like baby Bowser. Like,
yeah, there you go.
I can't. I can't, dude.
I just want them to use like speed references. Pop quiz, hotshot.
Mario pops up. He has Peach. Pop quiz, hotshot. Bowser has like strapped with dynamite. Oh god.
Oh my god. All right, so Super Mario Brothers. So, the trailer was the trailer was good.
Yeah, it was pretty good, dude.
Moving on, next topic.
Yeah, didn't have Dennis Hopper in it.
So,
Dude,
Super-
way to full circle that joke. Way to full circle. Like just
guys, hey, bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we don't edit the show.
No, we don't.
way to full circle.
We don't edit the show, guys. It's all clean, one
That-
shot.
I swear to God, I didn't when you brought up Dennis Hopper. I totally forgot we had Mario Brothers. I totally forgot that we had that coming.
Yeah.
All right, so
Oh,
new
man.
Super Mario Brothers trailer drops on a
Yeah.
Nintendo Direct. We finally get a good one.
Yeah.
Thank God. Awesome.
The animation looked great.
It's Illumination. They're
Yeah.
really good when it comes to their animation.
Something
and
that's
stuff.
not Minions.
Yeah, it is.
Like-
Here's the thing. I love that they showed that little sequence of Bowser basically going after the penguins. That was perfect.
That
That
was
is all
great.
I needed because when we get Jack Black as Bowser,
Yeah.
and I think you really need to get a good Bowser voice, and Jack Black was that.
I was more worried that Bowser was gonna sound like Poe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready
Like
to
he-
bring the fire.
Yeah, like
Skadoosh, Mario!
I'm gonna he goes up the beach, skadoosh, grabs her.
he catches Mario in a whoosher figure hold.
Yeah.
And he's like, so you know this hold? Okay,
The Dragon Warrior.
I really want Bowser to go on a heavy metal like sing. Like I really want him to pull a guitar out and to go like, man, where's Cage? I swear to God, with him being Bowser,
Yeah.
if Cage is baby Bowser,
Oh my gosh.
I would love
out
this
like a little
movie.
guitar.
Just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
here's the question, right?
Yeah.
Because when we think about Super Mario's existed
Yeah.
for decades, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of references you can do. And the cast is an all-star cast. You've got Chris Pratt, you have Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, you have Anna Taylor-Joy.
Keegan is the one that really hides his voice.
He does.
Yeah.
We also didn't get, what's his name?
Charlie Day.
Charlie Day. We didn't get his voice.
No, it's fine. It's a
But
teaser.
it's a teaser.
Yeah.
We get what we need. We get a vibe of what the humor will be.
Yeah.
We get a look of the world, and we get to see how Mario and Luigi look.
Yeah.
And I do like that. Okay, I know people are kind of upset about it, that it's not a very high-pitched Mario, and it's not like a very like Italian Mario.
So that's the controversy. Besides
That
him
is-
not having no ass. Apparently people
I
care
don't
about
know.
that.
I didn't know that people were
wasn't-
like, oh,
yeah.
hey, does Mario have a dump truck?
Yeah, I wasn't looking.
If he
at
doesn't
how
have a
thick
dump truck,
Mario
then this is going to
was.
be a bad movie.
Here's the
Like-
thing. All right.
You want to
give-
see how thick Mario was? Just watch the live
Look,
action.
that community
of
is freaking weird because
Super
you
Mario
guys
Brothers.
remember what was the big bit when Super Mario Odyssey was out? Mario was running around without a shirt, and now he has confirmed nipples, and that's what people were making a big deal about.
Yeah, Nintendo fans were weird.
Yeah, it's like, why can't you
Yeah.
just leave the man's body alone,
Which
dude?
is also funny because this proves that Nintendo can't have a direct without a Mario property, or else no one will care.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because the last time that they had a Nintendo Direct and there wasn't like a big Mario property that was coming out, no one cared. They were like, "Was there a Nintendo Direct?"
It was all farm and it's all farming and simulations.
Yeah,
That's
so
all it was.
that just proves that the main title that Nintendo has to like push forward is Mario.
So let's talk
properties.
about the big elephant in the room, which is Chris Pratt's Mario voice, right?
I actually kind of like his boss. I like that Brooklyn accent that he has.
So I'm gonna say this.
Because he's supposed to be from. Because I like the idea that he's from Queens.
Okay.
Make him from Queens.
So let's go off of that, right?
Yeah.
Here's my problem with it. If people are joking about it, cool. Go ahead and make those memes. They're funny
Yeah.
memes. I don't mind. That's whatever, right? The
Yeah.
internet's going to be the internet and do whatever you want, right? But if you're going to come to me, right, and you're going to say, well, it doesn't sound like Mario. Let's bear in mind that Mario's had 3 different voices over the last couple of decades he's been around. One, he's got that iconic, like, wahoo, wee, like that
Yeah.
kind of voice, right? So you have that. You also have Bob Hopkins. Who was it?
Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins, right? His voice, who was very New Yorker. He was a very New Yorker.
Because he's
Mario,
from
right?
Brooklyn.
Exactly.
He's also from London.
Then you have
Bob Hoskins is from.
yeah,
is from
but then you also have the cartoon Super Mario Brothers show, which was very, hey Luigi, like a very like a more Italian, but very like.
stereotypical.
It was a very
Winded.
stereotypical Italian, like
Yeah.
like they went. He's an Italian plumber, and then somebody went, okay, I'm gonna go to the most Italian accent I can possibly do.
Winded Italian is what
Yeah,
it was.
Where all Mario is like missing is the.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like he's missing the
Gabagool.
I need my cannoli. Like Luigi, where's my cannoli?
Hey, no, careful. They're gonna take that out of context, all right? We can't have
So-
that. We can't do this.
You're right. You're right. No, but I really think it's interesting. I really do feel that as a teaser, it was good. You had a little bit of a taste of it. It wasn't a full sentence,
No.
which I do want to hear him saying like an actual full like line.
Yeah.
Like some dialogue from it, because you can't really get a good taste of what the accent sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
It does sound a lot more New Yorker. Like it sounds very Brooklyn. It sounds, Queens. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Mario being from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. Instead of him being a stereotypical Italian man.
So people are forgetting that this is a kids movie.
Yeah.
Right. So
Is it?
Oh,
Oh man,
duh.
I was holding dear to my childhood and just like, God, like, this is mine. Like,
What do you mean? That's the thing, is that Mario has
I'm a
been
Link guy.
iconic
I like Legend of
for
Zelda.
years.
I'm just saying. I just
Hey,
have
can
a
you show off your
photo.
shirt? Your shirt's pretty sick, Nick.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Tron
it's-
Link.
Yeah, it's sick. That's a dope shirt.
You have the shirt, don't you?
No, I saw Loot Crate. This is from Loot Crate, the Goonies one.
That's also from Luke Crate.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is when Luke Crate was good.
This is from
Why are we
T-Public.
That's from what?
T-Public.
I like
Wait, we
T-Public
can't be.
stuff more.
We can't be.
I like
No, not a
T-Public
sponsor. First of all, Loot Crate sucks.
Well, Luke
Okay.
Crate went out of business.
Yeah,
They
so
just-
let's
they
not-
just-
T-Public sponsor us. Yeah.
You know what? If T-Public were to sponsor us, I'd be 100% okay with that.
Okay, why not?
We got to ask.
We got an email.
We had an email.
Reach out.
We got to send him an email. But
Do it.
I do have to. But here's my thing. I feel like right now is going through the same things that always happen. Look at the Sonic controversies when Ben Schwartz was said that he was going to be doing the voice. Everybody freaked out.
That's true.
Everybody freaked out that Ben Schwartz was going to be doing the voice, and now he's iconic as doing the Sonic voice. Now everybody goes like Ben Schwartz is like one of the best Sonic voices that we've ever had. And it's the same thing that goes on with any medium from comic books or cartoons. Look at Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger, they were like, oh, you're going to get the guy from Brokeback Mountain?
Robert Pattinson's being Batman?
Yeah, Robert Pattinson's being Batman? There's always these controversies of like, oh, yeah, they're going to do a bad job just with the minimalist information.
No, and that's true. You have the good side of the internet that will fight on something bad, aka the look of Sonic and having them redo the whole thing. Granted, the animation studio that was in charge of doing that went bankrupt afterwards, right?
Yeah,
that sucks.
Teeth Sonic was really bad.
But they got him to redo it, right?
Yeah.
In this case,
greatest thing about Teeth Sonic that came from that was Chippendales.
Chippendales
Rescue Rangers. That's the
Ugly Sonic.
best thing that came from Ugly Sonic.
But that was the thing, is that we're looking at this and we only have Mario speaking 2 lines. That's it. And it's not even good. It's not even a good, like, they aren't good lines. So wait until the movie comes out. Again, it is a kids movie. It's not out till April 7th. More than likely, we're not even going to get another trailer until closer to that time. Granted, here's the other thing. Universal Studios is set to release or open up their Super Mario World area next year.
My thing
that
is
might
that
be a thing.
I just worry that Mario is going to sound too close to the character from Lego Movie.
We're back.
So I'm really hoping that he doesn't look like that. He doesn't sound like.
I thought you were going to call me out on the fact that it was my
I
stuff.
was just going to keep on moving on.
Yeah, because we're professionals.
Yeah,
that's right. My bad.
I'm not you.
Moving on.
And moving on.
You know what the great thing is? I took the high road, so you would do that.
Fell into my trap.
I took the high road on purpose. I was like, if I don't mention it, Bryan will rat himself out.
Yeah, I'll admit my faults. I'll admit my mistakes.
So anyway, I think we just need to give the entire cast a chance.
Yeah,
it's an all-star cast. They all know how to act. They all know how to voice act.
So far, I'm already in for Jack Black as Bowser. I'm in it.
Yeah, I'm game for it. Mm-hmm. I'll put it this way, man. Like I said, this movie came out as a surprise. I think all of us were kind of waiting for it, but the internet's going to be the internet, and they're just going to go out and complain. That's all it is, right? So
I'm really hoping that Chris Pratt does a good job, and everybody goes like, "Oh yeah, Chris Pratt's like the new Mario." Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Moving on. Other topics of discussion. So we also have to talk about She-Hulk. So let's bring in Marvel again. Let's talk about them, right? You know, right. Warner Brothers brings in Ezra Miller. Whatever. It's garbage. Marvel. Surprise thing that comes out, little mini movie.
Yes.
Werewolf by Night.
Completely forgot it was supposed to come out this time, or around this time. I thought it was coming out later in October.
So what are our thoughts on this?
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
I was pleasantly surprised with it.
I thought it was fun. I liked the premise of it being kind of like a battle royale between hunters.
Yeah.
Everything else. I do kind of wish I would have spent a little more time with the other hunters, because at a certain point they just kind of felt like fodder.
They just like introduced like, oh, these are the hunters, and that's it. We never really kind of like got into it with them, or even more along the line. It was just
I would have appreciated something closer to Bullet Train.
Yeah.
Where at least you got a small introduction of the characters, because like some of those hunters had 4 lines.
Yeah.
And then died. And then you were like, all right, whatever.
So this movie came out, I think the big selling point was that it's filmed in black and white. It's supposed to be this like old school film style of monster movies, right? Frankenstein, or the Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, the werewolf movie, all those are kind of like that era, right? That kind of era stuff.
Yeah.
I will say that I was a fan of the aesthetic. I did like the way that it was portrayed. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a fan of the way it was shot in certain moments, because a lot of the times when those movies come out, or when those movies are made, it's a static camera. Mm-hmm. The most you get is either kind of like a panning shot or some sort of dolly movement, something like that, nothing too extreme. And if your zoom-ins were to happen, you know, there's a part in the movie, right, in Werewolf by Night, where the werewolf comes out and there's like a zoom-in on the werewolf, right?
Yeah.
That's great. That's kind of reminiscing of what you get from those movies. But a lot of the times, those fancy camera movements where you can tell that it's on like a crane or something, it's too much. It ruined that aesthetic, right? Other than that, when it comes to the story wasn't that bad. Granted, you did get a couple of the hunters with some good character development and everything. They only had a couple lines before they basically died.
There was only like 4 hunters that you really cared about.
Yeah,
that was it.
That was it.
It was the old man. What's her name? What was it? Alice.
Yeah.
Jack. And Bono.
Yeah, and then there was like a Scottish one.
That was the old man, the Scottish guy.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there was a guy with
He had
the
lines.
crossbow.
Yeah, the Scottish guy had lines.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I was hoping that this movie, Werewolf by Night, really okay. I feel like we're getting way too negative. First of all, I might be getting a little too.
You're
negative.
too negative.
I am
I
too
said
negative.
I liked it
because this movie was good. It was a great movie. I don't think it's a solid 9 out of 10. That's what most people are saying. I think it's a good 8, 7.5.
I would give it a high 7.
Yeah, it's
It was
an 8.
fun.
Give it like a 7.5.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I had fun with it.
Yeah.
Would I recommend it? Yeah, why not?
Especially the ending parts, the third act, right? But for me, there was a lot of missed cues when it came to the filming of it. Storytelling was a little bit you could tell it was kind of rushed in a way.
I feel like they went with their first draft and didn't revitalize anything.
No, I feel like it was definitely a second draft.
Yeah.
I mean, every film.
It was
But
at first. I feel like
they could have really thought it out and made it,
I feel like
clever.
I feel like one more
Okay.
draft could have helped. Like if you would have tried longer too, a little more of a runtime, I would have been okay with.
like a solid hour.
Yeah.
Because it was only 55 minutes, and that's with credits.
Yeah.
So, and credits are usually like what 10, 15 minutes.
So,
this
like
is
an hour and 15.
This is like maybe 45 minutes. This is like maybe a 40-minute movie.
Yeah.
It's an episode of like She-Hulk
Yeah.
or anything else. So I would have liked it if they would have given you maybe an hour 15, maybe an hour 30
Of just movie.
Really go into the backstory because I don't really know how Animal Thing got there
Man Thing.
or Swamp Thing. He's just Marvel
Swamp
Thing.
Man.
He's Marvel Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
But I don't really know much about him. I don't really know much about like the other hunters. I don't really know too much about like her problems with her dad. Like why did she leave or anything else? They left a lot of stuff just kind of like it happened and we're just gonna kind of tell you what happened. Whereas I would have really liked to have seen like maybe a flashback or maybe like things that were happening there that reminded her of like the way her dad taught her or anything like very like some cool things that you could have done. But
you know what probably would have helped if this was like not just a one-off but also like a 2-parter. So you do it like you do the first part in the beginning of this month and then you do the second part in Halloween. On Halloween.
It would have been interesting. I think that it
Mm-hmm.
would have been cool to make it be like an anthology series kind of way. Like give us a couple more stories rather
Well,
than
that's how most of those stories run. Werewolf by Night and then also Tomb of Dracula. They're told of just horror stories.
Yeah.
they're just
perfectly fine. By the way, I don't think we mentioned spoiler alert. We should have. I don't think there's really much that we haven't spoiled. I think we're going to go into spoiler territory at this point. So if you haven't seen it,
honestly, we haven't really said anything.
No, we haven't.
Spoiler, yeah.
So pause this episode, come back once you've watched it. We really recommend it. I think we're just nitpicking at stuff at this point, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the
It's just
story,
our personal preference. Yeah.
exactly. In terms of the story, I will say this: I 100% agree with you in that, right? In that it was it felt like it was written once and that was it, right? Even though it goes in a couple drafts, but I think it has to do in part with what it was referencing.
Yeah.
I feel like the story wasn't so much about the hunters involved. I don't think it was about Elsa, who was the lead actress or the lead character in this entire series or show. It wasn't about Man Thing at all because he pops in, pieces out afterwards, and that was it. And it definitely kind of did tell more about the other hunter. I forget his name, Jack, who is the werewolf that we find out is like, oh, he's a werewolf, and that's why.
Which I didn't actually realize. I didn't realize until we were really watching it, and then I saw like the difference between because at the end it goes color instead of it being black and white.
Yeah,
I really didn't realize that that color really helps CGI characters.
Yeah,
Because Swamp
Man Thing.
I knew I was going to do this.
Ted.
It's so funny because I remember when we were watching it, I was like, "What's his name again?" Because I kept on saying, "I'm going to say Swamp Thing."
it's Swamp Thing. It's Swamp Thing. You kept thinking of Swamp Thing.
But I know that Man Thing. What was I going to? Oh, he didn't look as good in black and white.
Yeah, that's true.
He looked,
I said
you can,
that.
You can see, I know, but I'm specifically
We
saying,
agreed.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yes.
I didn't realize that black and white really,
Collectively, we agreed with you, Brian.
Brian,
Not everything is intact, Brian. Relax.
I'm not attacking you.
I'm not saying you are.
Sometimes.
Oh my God.
I say a word. I say a single word, and you're just like, I didn't do that. And
I just want to have some credit. Is it too much to ask?
Yes.
And you will.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
In life.
Not here in this room.
Yeah, you can have all the credit for your mistakes.
So I think Swamp.
You're welcome.
I think Man Thing
You're welcome.
was the only really big CGI character in the entire movie.
Yeah,
right? In the short film.
the werewolf was all
practical and everything, and it was good.
makeup.
Yeah.
I will say I did love. Oh, well, what it was kind of the story about. That was the point I was trying to get to, right? I felt like the story was mainly revolving around the blood heart, or is that what it's
Bloodstone.
called? The bloodstone. That's all it was. And I think now I kind of understand what they were talking about because we referenced it back in like issue 117 or 116 where we said that the showrunners for Werewolf by Night were saying that this was going to have a bigger impact in the MCU than we think. I think that stone is going to be referenced potentially in movies like Blade or
it's definitely going to be the Bloodstone's always referenced with like characters like Doctor Strange or with like just more of like the mystical side of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And also, some of the showrunners during interviews did say, "Oh yeah, Blade was considered to be in this. Like we did consider to have Mahershala Ali in this as Blade, as another one of the hunters." But they also thought that would detract from the real story because everybody would have been like, "Oh, it's Blade."
You know, it's so funny how like they always think that. When they're like, oh, we had an idea that we could have brought in this character, but that would have basically, everyone would have been focused on that.
But I think it's a good idea to bring it up because, you're going to throw those names out there, right?
Well, it's interesting because especially when they say, oh, they're the greatest hunters in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
what about the Daywalker?
What about Daywalker? He is the best vampire hunter in the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't he be invited? But also it's the idea of they're also part of that cult or
this
hunting
group were not monsters. We find that out. They're all humans who were hunting monsters.
Yes.
That's what it was. And when Jack is revealed to be a werewolf, he was hiding amongst the humans, and that's why he was put in that cage with Elsa essentially to basically kill them both, right? Because he's that monster.
But he is a hunter.
He is a hunter. Because he's just not.
He says that he hunts. When he hunts, he turns into a monster to hunt the other monsters.
Yes. Now, I will say that I do like the fact that this film exists in the universe because now we're not getting to, like, we're kind of pulling away from the realism of the MCU because keep in mind, not to say that these things would happen in real life.
No, but it's the standard of the cinematic universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've done the things on Earth.
Yeah.
We're doing things out in space. We're doing things out in the different universes and stuff. We've got the multiverse, but now we're getting into the supernatural, and that is interesting because when Marvel Comics gets into the supernatural, you do get characters that are going to be more involved. Doctor Strange and Blade, to name a few right now that we do have, right? Even what's his name, the Black Knight?
Yeah.
Right?
Mobius is also he's
Morbius?
Whatever.
Off-road
Goku. Bat Goku.
Bat Goku.
Vampire Goku.
But I can see that as well. I do want to see. My thing is that when you have more and more shows like these, I'm really concerned about where exactly this is going to fit into the Marvel universe. Like where are we going with this? I have a feeling that this isn't going to be addressed until Secret Wars.
Yeah.
That it's a cool little story that we have in the universe. It may get addressed in Blade, maybe. I doubt it.
It's potential for good cameos.
It's a potential for good cameos, but I don't know where these characters could show up again unless you did another Werewolf by Night, or unless you did maybe the Tomb of Dracula, or maybe if you did something else. But that's also the problem with the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. We have a lot of really cool ideas and we have a lot of really interesting things that are coming out. but I don't know where they're fitting in the grand puzzle of the MCU.
Okay.
And that also leads to Marvel fatigue.
Yeah, no, and we've mentioned this before. This has been an ongoing issue for the last phase and phase 4. It's just been too much. None of it really connects, and there's been a lot of rewrites, which is why we said in the last issue in 117 that Black Panther could potentially be that movie that will decide if people will be interested in phases 5 and 6. Yeah. It's that thing, right? Mm-hmm. They also released a trailer for Black Panther. I feel like Werewolf by Night, we can kind of just put it to the side at this point. It's a good little short film to watch.
Good. I liked it. Yeah.
The ending is pretty good. I think we were really surprised by the amount of black blood that was in there. You know, they really went deep into it. It's not something for the little kiddies to watch.
There's a reason why it's in black and white.
Yeah, which is it's pretty good. It's a really good short film. But Black Panther came out with a new trailer this week as well, and they did it because they were selling advance tickets. We got ours. We're gonna go see it. We're gonna be talking we're gonna be talking about it when it comes out. Mm-hmm. Couple surprises there. Yeah. Just wait until November. But that trailer didn't reveal anything. It just kind of showed off Shuri as Black Panther.
Yeah, it just kind of confirmed that we're getting a new Black Panther.
But the thing is that also it didn't. We know we have an inkling it's going to be Shuri. Yes. We have a lot of clues that it's going to be Shuri. Mm-hmm. But also they haven't confirmed it's Shuri. They're leaving it up to your anticipation because, I mean, it could be Okoye, it could be Shuri, it could be, there's a lot of different candidates that all could fit in the Black Panther suit.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see where they're going. We got a little bit more Namor inside of this one. You got a little better look at his costume. You got a little more about him. You got a little bit more about Kota Khan.
Yeah.
About him being the avatar for Kota Khan. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of interested how all that's going to come about because they, in their press release, they also said he is not a villain. He's more of a hero that becomes a villain for a reason. But he also was a hero. Mm-hmm. So I imagine it's going to be a war of misunderstandings.
Yeah, that's I think kind of what it leads up to at that point.
Yeah.
They also, I think someone confirmed, or I don't know, this could be a rumor. Someone said that Dr. Doom will be in Black Panther.
I've heard about that it's slowly coming in. I mean,
I heard. Now this is from a leaked photo at it was at
New York Comic Con?
New York Comic Con? No, not New York Comic Con. It was at a D23 or Comic Con where they revealed the cast for
Fantastic Four?
Yes. And they said Henry Cavill was Dr. Doom. Victor Von Doom.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, same here.
Henry Cavill is Dr. Doom. Mm-hmm. I just want him to shotgun his arms.
No, like I want him to come out in the green cloak, right? And then it just go like
just like that's a jet blue. Like you see him like hit the cape behind him and just go
walks up to Reed Richards like, all right.
No,
that's all I want. If I see that inside of Fantastic Four, I'm like, greatest movie ever watched. Greatest movie ever made.
Seeing Dr. Doom cock his arms.
I feel like Marvel is slowly still releasing stuff, but it's kind of not doing them any good. It's kind of like just putting a Band-Aid on a wound that needs stitches right now.
You know what it feels like? You ever play Sea of Thieves?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you like you're bailing out the water without putting any planks on.
Yeah.
Where you're still sinking. You're doing it very slowly. But eventually, if you do nothing about this, we're going to sink.
The boat is leaking. You got to patch it up, but you're not doing it. All of a sudden, a fire breaks out as well. You're like, I got to put out that fire. You got to throw out the water. Yeah. What's going on?
And then, nobody's up at the helm. And and the sails are still down. And it's just kind of like, just bail. Who's driving? And then rocks are coming, and no one's there to stop it. So I'm just really hoping that
Kevin Feige's just standing there like this, like, yeah.
No, Kevin Feige's already he's already in the dinghy, and he's been sailing away to the island, and he's just like,
Warner Brothers, you got a job?
Yeah, but I do want to see them. I want to see where their proper roadmap.
Yeah.
I want to see where this lands in the universe. I want to see where everything else goes, and I'm hoping that after Black Panther, things are going to make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, that's the hope. That is the hope, is that Black Panther is that kind of like restart, that refresh that gets us back interested in it. Because unfortunately right now it's not doing it. Werewolf by Night was an interesting bit. It's probably the thing that got us back into it. It's like, okay, cool. Like now we're interested in it, right? It's bringing a supernatural element back into it.
Yeah.
Black Panther needs to get us back into the MCU universe.
Because this is the end of this phase, right?
Yes.
Black Panther. So Black Panther needs to get us ready and amped up for the next phase.
And I hope that they're not just using the Doctor Doom reveal to basically get us hyped for Phase 5.
I have to say, I think that's what it is.
That would suck, because then you're using that character as like a throwaway at that point.
I feel that
that's going to be like the Thanos.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be the after credit scene. I do feel that Henry Cavill will appear, and he's sitting on I honestly do think he's just going to be sitting on a throne, and they're going to get a report of what happened in Wakanda. Were they able to steal the vibranium? Were they able to do everything else?
I don't know. I just thought of this like stupid line, and be like. He's like, well, what should we do? Or it's like, someone's like, oh no, what should we do? And he's like, call me Dr. Doom. I don't know why. I just thought of like a cheesy ass line like that.
But I think, it's going to be that moment of you see Henry Cavill and he's sitting on a throne, and they just say like, Victor, the operation in Wakanda was not a success. Namor was not able to finish our plans.
So
and everything else, and then you just see him turn around, and you're like. And then it just goes to black.
It's interesting, right? Because
he just smiles.
in his little mask.
Yeah.
I will say I find it very interesting that we were the ones that basically. I feel that we were like, I mean, technically, like we didn't break the news, right? Because it was kind of already out there.
Yeah.
But I like to say that we did, because no one else was really talking about Doctor Doom being in Black Panther. We just kind of like made that assumption based off the evidence that's revealed so far. But what I did find interesting was that after we released that issue, which I think was like issue 112 or 110, right? The channel variant, right? They release.
Oh, that's right.
He releases
a Doctor Doom episode.
Exactly, talking about the potential story and everything. That is someone I'd like to do a collab with.
I would love to do it with one.
Variant, yeah.
I would
What's
love
his
to
name?
do
Anthony.
Carbone?
Yeah.
Something like
Carbone?
that.
Yeah. Or I if we could ever do a thing with Variant or new rock stars or anything like that, I would
that'd be cool.
I would be in love.
Test their comic book knowledge. Come on, we got this.
No, we'll lose. No, we'll lose. I don't get me wrong. I'm confident. I'm very confident in my own.
I mean, he does his
knowledge,
research. It's not like everything's in his mind, right?
It's true.
That's it. Like we do our research too. We just do it.
Yeah. We have access to Google too.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
How about this? We reach out to Variant Comics. Let's throw him a couple issues their way and see what he likes. He has his own podcast.
Yeah, why not?
True. All right.
Yeah, we'll do that. Let's see if we can get a collab going. He's got like 1 million subs. We've got 120, but still, it's
that's something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Go.
I guess that counts for something.
Going about that though,
before we move on to our next, do you want to check? You want to reset?
I'm checking.
You want to reset or no?
22 minutes. We're good. Let's give it another. I think we can get through She-Hulk before I have to do a reset.
I think She-Hulk should finish up.
Yeah, She-Hulk is. Yeah,
She-Hulk's
let's. Because we got a couple more minutes into the show. We're gonna end this pretty soon, and I got to do.
So She-Hulk this week, we finally got what we've been wanting. Is
a lot of fans.
What a lot of fans have been wanting was Daredevil.
Yes.
We finally got the Man with No Fear, Matt Murdock.
So
I really do feel we should have gotten more episodes, and I do feel he's coming back for the next episode.
You know what? I don't believe that. I think that was it. I think he's not coming back in the finale.
Here's the reason why.
Yeah.
The person who plays oh my god, she was in the Good Place.
Oh, Jamil
Najani.
Yeah.
Najani. She tweeted a picture of Charlie Cox, and it's at what was it? It's at the compound. It's at what's his name? Abomination's compound.
Oh.
He's
Charlie
there.
Cox?
Charlie Cox is, and he's in the suit.
Oh.
And you can see that he's coming off of set, and she took a photo of him, and then they were like, "Wait a minute, that's not from this episode. that obviously is from next episode because he's in the back, like he's walking through the compound in his suit, and he's like waving
In his Daredevil suit?
in his Daredevil suit.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty sure that what's going to happen is because he says, "Oh yeah, I leave next week to go back to."
I thought it was the next day.
Or the next day.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he comes back to help Jen.
Do you think he's going to be representing her?
It could be. I would.
That'd be cool.
I would like him coming back to represent her, and then
Yeah.
it doesn't work out. It works. It works out negatively in her
and
favor.
she has to go to Abomination's compound to get,
to hide out.
No, not to hide out. That's her, like, she has to spend time there.
She hulked out.
She
now
hulked
she
out.
has
Yeah.
to go through
now
rehab.
she has to rehab to go. She has to go through that.
That'd be an interesting thing, but also I wouldn't mind Charlie Cox because he even says in this episode, when you can use the law to help people out, but when it fails them, She-Hulk can help them out.
So,
and I think the law is going to fail Jen.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a She-Hulk Daredevil team up to make things right and actually take down.
What is it? King Hulk or Intelligentsia, or what's her name?
Intelligentsia.
Intelligentsia.
Something like that.
Yeah, like the main members.
Let's clarify something real quick, okay? Yeah. It's not the fact that we've wanted Daredevil to be on the show, even though it's a She-Hulk show.
Daredevil was advertised.
And they use that as a lure to get people to watch. That's kind of what it feels like. Granted, if you look back in the issues, the last, I think, how many episodes has it been? Like 9 at this point? So the last 9 different issues, right? We've said over time that She-Hulk has been a good show throughout the first 3 episodes because it got a good development.
Yeah. I like 6 of the 9.
Yes, and it got to that point where it got too much that we're like, okay, how much more can you keep advertising Daredevil before you bring him in? Right? So that's where it got exhausting because we were wondering, you teased the helmet. You still got us hooked halfway through, right? Like, okay, we've got
2 episodes.
We've still got another 2 episodes, and then it took that time for them to finally reveal Daredevil Matt Murdock. So the problem is, in this show so far, right, is that it took too long to develop Jen Walters, right? The show is She-Hulk. The show is also Attorney at Law. So last week, in issue 117, we had issues with the fact that we weren't getting She-Hulk and that Nick wasn't getting his attorney show. He was very disappointed.
I am.
He had his own hulked out moment here on the show.
I do feel that in this episode, I mean, don't get me wrong, I really did like the attorney scene, but I felt like somebody went, here's a bunch of attorney jargon, both of you yell at each other for like 5 minutes, and then we'll move on because we got the attorney stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
And now we can do some She-Hulk stuff.
Are you talking about this episode?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the thing, right? Is that this episode gave us that attorney aspect of it. Now, let's say that we can kind of theoretically in some universe fix this show, right? The last 2 episodes. What if we remove the last 2 episodes? Maybe cut a bit and piece here where, the blood gets taken out, the creepy scene is fixed up a little bit, but we bring this episode and put that in place of episodes 8 or 7 and 8, right? We introduce Matt Murdock then. That would have been better because my issue now is this episode was really, really well done, right?
Yeah.
You've got your attorney part, and we also have Daredevil. Yeah, you get the jargon. But it was Marvel's version of the show.
What I really did like, and I think that should have been a thing that they kept on doing, because I would have liked to have seen. I like when Jen is trying to stop Leapfrog or Guard Frog, and she's
Leapfrog, it was Leapfrog.
It was Leapfrog, right? I was when she's trying to stop Leapfrog, she's like, "I'm trying to stop you from committing more crimes."
Yeah.
And if we stop right now,
rip it and rip it.
Yeah,
rip it and rip it.
But I love the idea of her telling him this, and then in the background, he goes, "Yeah, you're right. You could do an insanity defense.
Oh yeah.
And you could probably get away with it.
It's murky, but
it would work.
It's not a bad plea.
Yeah, it's not a bad plea." And he's like, "Oh, is he a lawyer?" And he's like, "No. I'm just.
I just love my shows.
I just really love great.
Shows.
I just really love like Law and Order,
Yeah.
and I really loved that, and that's why I was saying I think that I would have loved to have had these 2 team up a lot sooner.
That's the thing, and you would have had like episodes of them teaming up along the way and stuff like that. That would have been. That's the thing. It was really cool, and again, I loved the detail when it came to not the detail, but it's like this little subtle thing that I noticed that when Mandy was watching it, she goes like, "Why? How come they don't have guns?" And I go, "Because I feel like if you bought a large quantity of weapons, you probably get flagged by the FBI." You know, because they all have crossbows. They all have like, you know, like they don't have firearms.
No, they don't.
Yeah. They all have like, you know, just stuff that you could probably get like at a mass sale of some sorts.
You can get it
Wholesale or something.
Easy Costco buys.
Yeah.
You know,
and then I love the henchmen. They're all talking too. They're all talking about like their names.
Are we tadpoles?
Yeah, it's like, did you know he wanted to call us tadpoles? You know, like why?
I'm just not a baby frog or something like that. Yeah.
And they were like, I don't think you know how frogs like. I don't think you understand frog anatomy.
Yeah.
But I do like the fight scenes with Daredevil. I do like the idea of them using his powers, where he's like, oh yeah, there's three in the front, there's two in the back.
Yeah.
There, you know, him able to like actually echolocate or at least locate people with their heartbeats, and they make fun of it. And also, I do feel like the relationship between Jen Walters and Matt Murdock was genuine.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas I feel like Josh,
that was so charming.
But I feel like Josh's was a lot more forced. I feel like that one was forced. I feel like the muscled pediatrician, he was also forced. I didn't believe any of those like relationships.
Well, that's the thing, is that those relationships were forced because those guys had secret intentions.
Yeah.
And those guys had their own intentions when it came to Jen, while when it came to Matt, he was just basically talking to her, and then it just they
had a lot in common.
It sparked up this little affection between them two.
So let's take a brief pause to reset the camera before we talk about this whole aspect of Daredevil and Jen, because it is an interesting thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to reset the camera. I'll explain it a bit. We'll be right back.
And now, our feature presentation.
So the greatest thing that came from this episode is Daredevil taking the walk of shame.
Yes.
And him whistling in the Daredevil outfit, which also is funny too, because he's not wearing his shoes. He's barefoot.
I guess so.
For whatever reason.
He's walking on the grass too.
Yeah, he's
right.
walking on the grass and like he's like whistling and everything. I thought it was hilarious.
He has enough time to put on the costume and the mask, but not his shoes.
But I did think it was funny because it's like, this is the only outfit I have, so I still have to wear the helmet.
Yeah.
Because I'm still dressed as Daredevil
during
the day. So I have to walk home.
Well, he's in LA. It's
I have to walk to my hotel.
Yeah.
And it's just really funny.
Yeah.
It is a funny situation. I also liked when her friend comes in and she's like, oh yeah, I saw this like guy dressed as a devil and he's and he's walking down the street, you know, taking the walk of shame. I wonder what that's all about. And then Jen starts laughing.
Yeah.
She's like, oh,
It's interesting because the
Happy?
implication there is that Daredevil rocked her world.
oh, that it was that she was very
was good.
sad.
That it was, it was the best thing ever, dude. Now, okay, let's address two different things, right?
I also like the idea that Daredevil stayed until morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what it looked like. It looked like they both woke up, he got dressed, and then he left.
He's like, hey, you know what? Good job.
Yeah. Come on, like no one's ever done that. You guys don't do that? If it was like really good, and then you go like, good job, and then you guys high five. Have you guys never done that? You should try it. It's great.
I can't.
You should really try it. It's really a motivational
Nick's
boost.
advice right here.
It's a good boost. It's like,
okay, good. Are you done?
you feel great about each
Oh
other.
my god. Anyway, so
It really brings you closer.
the high five happens, right? And that, that they stayed till morning, great, that's all well and done. There is a little bit of controversy, like anything, right? The internet always has something dumb to say about this, right? They're saying, one, that they brought back Daredevil to a level that isn't relatable. Oh, he's, banging chicks and stuff like that. How could they? Whatever, right? That they had a problem with that. Oh, he's not as broody and as dark as he was in his series on Netflix.
Good, that was
they
exhausting.
Disneyed him, it makes no sense.
He's on
Daredevil
Netflix.
doesn't have sex. His costume looks dumb. He was CGI'd in
What?
action and all this other stuff.
Dude,
Matt-
Daredevil was
Matt-
bangs.
Yeah, Matt's a
So-
man whore.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
So here's my thing, right?
Like,
Who are these people to complain about this when every character, these characters, confirm with me, how long has Daredevil been around?
For years.
Decades.
Since like the 60s.
And that means that there's different iterations of Daredevil around, right?
Oh, yeah.
This costume is his original costume. This mustard red color.
It's closer to
It's closer to the original
It's
one.
close as you're gonna get.
The Red Devil doesn't come in until way later.
Yeah.
So this is it's a nod to his original color, right? Perfect.
Also, I really like the gold off red.
Yeah.
It looks really great.
It looks good.
It looks great in lighting. It really looks good in darkness.
Yeah.
I when he has too much red on him, he blends into the background way too much, and you don't get that effective like kind of like spookiness of him.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this one, when he turned around and he was in that dark hallway, you can feel that they were afraid of him, and you could properly see his outline because he had the yellow accents.
Yes.
And it looked really good.
So addressing this, right? The reason as to why they're saying that it doesn't fit his character is because Daredevil is canonically a Catholic. He is a devoted Catholic, and he's like this whole. He preaches the religion and everything like that.
But he also goes to confessional.
But he bangs in the comic books. Him and Elektra. That's the most known right there. Yeah. Now this is a great thing about Daredevil.
Doesn't he have sex with like 3 people in the show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He has like sex with like 3 or 4 people.
But
right?
Nick, that doesn't count. Yeah. That doesn't count. Because he's still the Daredevil show that Netflix had was more to his roots.
Dude, show me a Catholic that doesn't bang.
That's true.
Now here's the other thing, right? Okay. It's very interesting because we had the development of Jen Walters going through her life and trying to have that confidence in herself over 6 episodes. Mm-hmm. In 1 episode, we get a full-on good development of She-Hulk, right? We get that confidence, that kind of like, okay, you know what? What Matt Murdock said is true. As Jen Walters, I can go ahead and save people from using the law. As She-Hulk, I can defend people when the law isn't working, when the law fails them. Mm-hmm. So we get that development. We get that confidence. She's able to kick Daredevil's ass, right? The other thing I'd like to say is this. We've mentioned it before in the last couple of issues. She-Hulk is very sex confident.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we got that.
Well, no, I was going to say also Daredevil's funny.
Yeah.
In the comic books, Daredevil's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's entertaining.
There's a little bit of a banter back and forth, and we get that here too.
He's not like I get the
like Batman.
He's not Batman where he's just like darkness. My parents are dead. Brooding.
I hate my life.
He quips. He does have quips, and he does make fun of his villains, and he does make fun of people. Mm-hmm. So he has fun.
He even put a "kick me" sign on back of Peter Parker's suit when they were on the rooftop. They were like, "Hi," and Spider-Man swinging, and it says "kick me" on the back of it.
That happens twice.
Yeah,
people always do "kick me" signs on Spider-Man.
Yeah, Peter.
Because also the Human Torch does it.
Yeah,
Human Torch also puts him when he's the Amazing Bagman.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I was like, what is it? Yeah, the Amazing Bagman.
When he's the Amazing Bagman in the Fantastic Four outfit, he like goes like, "All right, Peter," throws him out of the Baxter Building, and he has a "kick me" sign on his back.
Poor Peter.
Peter's always a punching bag.
Yeah.
Do we care that Jen and Matt did it?
No. At least it made sense.
Yeah.
It made sense because there was an actual. I have to admit, I really did think that the connection was there, especially when he was trying to listen for her heartbeat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I do like the fourth wall breaking where she's like, this guy's a jerk.
Oh yeah.
And he's beating her in law. And she finds that attractive. She's like, oh, he knows his stuff.
This guy's doing it for me.
Yeah, this guy's doing it for me. I don't know about you guys, but he's doing it for me. And I also he's lying. Don't ask me how I know. We can all tell he's lying, Mr. Murdoch.
It's the other thing. Andy got a little bit upset at me because I didn't catch on that Jen was attracted to Matt until I think the second time she mentions it. Yeah. She's like, you really can't catch on to hints and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, could you blame me? I was more invested in Matt Murdock being in the show than like Jen having feelings for him. But I caught on afterwards. But I did like that. I did like that.
I also liked seeing Matt more athletic. He was more acrobatic in this.
Yeah.
It is CGI acrobatics, but it's interesting to see him go from...
He's flying around.
He's doing tumbles. He was on the top of the roof, and then he was able to like springboard down to the bottom floor of a parking structure. It shows how people thought he was a devil because he would just appear places. Mm-hmm. And I could imagine that.
That's actually a very interesting point because I wasn't a fan of the CGI movement of Daredevil. I was kind of hoping that they did practical effects like they did in the Daredevil series. But when you put it that way, it's like, yeah, from what I remember in the Daredevil series, he was agile. He was a fighter. There's some really great fighting scene shots in the show, in the series, right? Mm-hmm. But what they didn't capture was his agility through the buildings. He was always the running guy that had to climb up the set of stairs to get to where he needed to go.
He was a lot more of a brute.
He was a lot more of a brute, and here you kind of get to see the athletic aspect of it because that's kind of how he's portrayed in the comic books and portrayed in certain cartoons as well. In the the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s?
Yeah.
When he has to, or when he's basically, fighting and then assisting Spider-Man in the episode where Peter gets framed, right? He's shown to be athletic. He's the guy that basically like swings around New York the same way that Peter does and is able to climb from building to building and jump from roof to roof. It works. So I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Totally do.
It's great to see Jen try and like clothesline him.
Yeah.
And he just totally flattens out. And then he gets back up and he goes, my ass is still not kicked.
Overall, I think that this is a good boost up again.
Yeah.
Not only because we finally get the Daredevil, like we finally stop getting teased about him and he finally makes an appearance, but it was a good She-Hulk episode. Like we do get that. And it ends with her basically hulking out and people being afraid of her.
You get to see what was essentially King Hulk's plan was to basically get her mad in public and have the public eye see her in a different way now.
Yes.
And also, but they also made it sound like she was a thief because they said that she stole Hulk's powers.
Yeah, that's interesting that they think that.
I'm hoping.
I'm wondering if they're like superhero loyalists where they're like replacing their heroes.
That's my fear. If we're going to wrap this up because we have to in the next minute or so, let's go ahead and talk about what we want in this next episode. I want that, what you guys mentioned before. I didn't think about it until now when you guys mentioned it, but I do want Jen to have to go through rehab to get a second season and for Matt to be involved and have to be her lawyer throughout that entire thing and having to work together. That would be interesting. Not to say that She-Hulk needs a supporting character to boost up.
It was just
but it's a good dynamic.
Such good chemistry together that you want to see more of that.
Exactly, which is good. That's what I want. And She-Hulk is not she's not a character that appears in her own comic books like a lot of the time. She ends up being a supporting cast member in a lot of the different stories.
Well, a lot of her comic books, there's a lot of like references of other characters around her and stuff like that.
So it'd be interesting to have that. The one thing I don't want is for Intelligentsia or whatever the name is to basically just be a Reddit group that basically torments her. That would suck.
Yeah, it's Disney's kind of like jab at like the fandom of the
cyberbullying.
The toxic fandom, because there are subreddits that just rag on She-Hulk, and they exist.
That wouldn't be good.
It's interesting that they could tell the future. Because this is made almost 2 years, almost maybe a year and a half ago, and they were writing this and they were going, well, we already know there's going to be subreddits. We already know there's going to be a lot of hate.
Yeah.
Why don't we just make that our villain?
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that the reason why she goes to Abomination's compound is because she needs her own army.
Yeah.
She's going to go get the people that actually were behind her.
Yeah.
The people that actually believed in her, and she needs help. And now she's embracing both parts. She's embracing the law part of herself, where she's now serving them, and also like serving them with cease and desists, while also rounding them up.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of interesting because then you could have a full circle with all the people that were in Abomination's compound. You can have, Porcupine. You can have the El Matador. You can have the Bullman. You can do all these other. It's just full circle.
Yeah.
And you can have that cool relationship with Jen and Daredevil, and as kind of like generals of this like makeshift army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The camera died officially.
Okay.
Battery. So no video right now, but Rene, go for it.
No, that's it.
That's it?
That's it for me, honestly.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I think for me, what I want is, I just want a conclusion of like, the whole like that internet group behind everything. I want to see what was their intentions, what was their plan, and stuff like that, and maybe a little throwback at Bruce, like just see where he's at.
Just to see.
Yeah, just to see where he's at.
Just a nice little end credit scene of seeing Bruce on Sakaar or something.
Yeah, something like that, or him sending Jen something from Sakaar, just like a little message or something like that.
Yeah,
it's just something fun.
There's a lot of things that are up in the air right now. There's a lot of like storylines. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't answer all of them, saving some of them for season 2. I do think Intelligentsia probably shouldn't be around for season 2. That they should probably wrap this up.
They haven't confirmed a season 2 for She-Hulk.
No.
They haven't confirmed a season 2. It's a limited series still, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's labeled as limited series.
So there could be a second season depending on how it ends and how the interest is.
Yeah. Only time will tell.
Yeah, because I don't know when we'll get She-Hulk again.
Yeah.
I don't know what other project.
She needs to be in this in the MCU long term.
Because what I've noticed though is I'm wondering if Disney Plus measures it after the series ends instead of it week to week, because there's a big portion of people that don't watch a show immediately. They wait until the full run, so that way they can just binge it.
That makes sense.
So I'm wondering if they're not really going like, hey, how is the show performing? Whereas, how does the show perform in the long run?
Yeah.
And then that'll tell us whether or not we can issue a season 2. The same thing with Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Where it was, oh yeah, we have like, how is it in the long run? Oh yeah, it did really
it get put
well.
in the Emmys as a limited series, or did it get pulled out?
Was it? I don't remember.
I think it may have got pulled out because they're doing a season 2.
We'll confirm that later afterwards off
Yeah,
camera.
we'll look it up. But
So, ladies and gentlemen, quick little bit. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, I apologize for the inconsistency. We ran into a couple production bits. Phone, basically, SD card shot, dead. Hopefully not, because I hopefully can save some stuff. So we might not even have video for the first part. That was a surprise to me. I was looking into it while we were talking about that, so we might not have video for the first part. We had to use.
You didn't even get the first 20?
I don't think so. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. We'll see. But we had to use the other camera, and that only has like 30 minutes of runtime. So Rene and Nick were, for the first time ever, not going to be on. Oh, no. Actually, you were cut off one time, remember? When you threw your Marvel, had a couple, like in the first couple issues. Because Nick's phone, now it's on me. So I apologize for that.
We'll have photo stand-ins then.
Should I go on Microsoft Paint and do something for you guys there?
Just cut us out.
But I apologize for that. But audio listeners, I mean, nothing's changed for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Once again, guys, thank you guys for joining us here at Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 118. Find us on keepingupwiththenerd.com, on social media, on YouTube, and anywhere you guys get your podcasts. Rate us 5 stars. Let us guys know what you guys think about the show. I'm not messing up and saying words that I'm not supposed to, Nick. I can actually finish them this time around because I'm not super tired. And comment down below in the comment sections. Let us know what you guys think about the show as well, if you guys have any opinions or anything like that.
Do you agree with us on anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you disagree?
Yeah, let us know. With that said, are we ready to wrap up the show?
Yes, we are.
All right, here we go. This has been Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 118. My name is Bryan.
Nick.
Rene.
Signing off from Undercity Comics. We'll see you all next time.